The thought of whether or not you should use a teleprompter has probably been on your mind. And for me, getting a teleprompter was for a very specific reason. I wanted to make creating videos much easier. I didn't want to keep repeating myself over and over. And I didn't want to turn a 10 to 20 minute video into a 1 to 2 hour process. And that's not including all the cutting and editing. The idea that I could accomplish creating a video in as few takes as possible, not having to glance at my script and then back up at the camera, sounded worth it. But would it come at the cost of making me seem more robotic and less natural? And is it going to make me suck at speaking without it? And is there a happy medium? Well, not only is this much easier than I expected, after a few tries, I felt reading from a teleprompter was really natural. And there are two ways you can use a teleprompter. Number one, you have word for word, and then you have bullet points. I'm mainly gonna focus on word for word, and I'll touch at bullet points on the end. The reason why speaking from a teleprompter can make you seem robotic or boring is because you get so caught up in reading from it, you forget to be yourself. You start losing your pace and your natural rhythm, and then the next thing you know is you're trying to speed up. A few years ago, I remember when I was learning to play golf, and more specifically, drive the ball. In order to hit the ball as far as possible, you have your feet positioned, your arms, and you almost have to keep your outside arm glued to your body to bring it up to where your bicep is pretty much just touching your chin before you swing. You have to grip and you have to have your eyes a certain way. It's a process. I had to consciously be aware of every single step. And I remember as I was doing it, I would say feet, grip, arms, eyes, just to make sure I'd be doing it right. We have to do the same thing with our pace, our voice, and how we move, and our eyes. Number one, our pace is one of the most important parts. If we talk too fast, it makes us seem unnatural. If we talk too slow, also unnatural. You'll run into this even if you are a pro. Now, I have been reading from a teleprompter this entire time. Certain words or sentences require me to slow down, or pause, or emphasize, or bring it to a point and speed up. But the teleprompter only has the speed I set it at. Over time, you will find being aware of this will help you a lot. For example, if you're getting ahead of the teleprompter, you can pause briefly and then choose to edit out dead space when you edit. Or you can slow down a bit to emphasize or exaggerate something. Or you could speed back up, show more excitement, and catch back up with the pace. This is something that you're gonna get better at over time. So your voice. Now, this was probably one of the most difficult aspects for me, and the reason why is I naturally sound monotone, so reading from a teleprompter really challenged me a bit, but here is what's interesting. Did you notice how I smiled and brought in my natural personality when I said that? I'm doing it now. I noticed as I had more practice with a teleprompter, I got better at being natural. But there's something else you can do right away before you even upload your script to the teleprompter, and that is reading your script in your own voice. Don't make the mistake of just uploading your script without doing this first, because lesson learned the first time. Next, movement. This reminds me of the scene of Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby is being interviewed and he goes, "I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I do with my hands?" Now, remember how I was talking about learning how to golf? And you had your certain movements and your fundamentals, you had your grip, your stance. Just being conscious of this and reminding yourself to be natural with movement is gonna help you go a long way. So move your arms how you would naturally move your arms. If it's not natural, don't do it. Then your eyes. Your eyes are really important. They are the reason you do or don't do all the above well. And I'm not just talking about reading or eye movement. The thing about teleprompters is if you're reading from a big screen, it can expose your eye movement. So that's one thing to consider. When you're reading is just a short space. You want to have everything confined as small as possible on the teleprompter. The smaller the area, the less your eyes move. In the beginning, I talked about pace in which your eyes follow and help set the pace. You're going to notice a slight increase in anxiety or whatever that feeling is for you when you get off pace. You have slowing down and then you have speeding up as an option. And this is a very powerful domino effect. You start getting more comfortable slowing down and then speeding up the pace. And then that anxiety goes away. And there's one other thing you could do to totally make yourself bulletproof, and that is practice going off script and then going back on script. Now, by being able to slow down and then speed back up, as well as not being afraid to go off script and then back on, nothing will stop you. So let's do a quick recap. Number one, keep your pace a natural rhythm by slowing down and speeding up. And pro tip, you can also use a remote for some teleprompters or a foot pedal. I'm using a foot pedal right now. Number two, your voice. Read your script in your own voice and practice before you actually upload the script. Three, be aware of your hand movements and remind yourself to move your hands as you would naturally. Here's something you could also do to help you if you don't know what you should do with your hands. What I like to do is I like to recite my sentences as I'm reading it and see what my hands do, and then just do that. Number four, your eyes. Get comfortable moving your eyes to speed up a bit or slow down a bit. Your eyes go where you want them to. The more you practice speeding up and slowing down, the more comfortable you're going to get, as well as just practicing going back off and back on the teleprompt. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next one.